Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau Federation. Since 1926, Farm Bureau has been working to preserve Virginia farms and our rural heritage. Visit our website at vafarmbureau.org.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Hello everyone and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce all of the wonderful products we enjoy.
Tobacco continues to be an important crop in Virginia. Summer is a great time to prune back some of your holly bushes, and tobacco barns used to be everywhere in Virginia. History buffs are trying to preserve a few of them before they're all gone.
Welcome back everyone. We're here at the Southern Piedmont Agricultural Research Station, and tobacco was considered king of all crops for centuries in Virginia until it took a tumble about a decade ago. But as Norm Hyde tells us, tobacco has made a rebound.
There's a lot of heritage and a lot of history in growing tobacco in Virginia. The golden leaf has paid the bills for thousands of farm families and helped their children to go to college. Jim Jennings and his son run their tobacco and grain operation, and he says tobacco has provided the kind of lifestyle and work ethic that's still rewarding to those who choose to do it. Tobacco was once sold at auction, and how much you grew was set by a government quota, and that all changed in 2004.
The current system of growing and raising tobacco is strictly contract. You contract with either a tobacco manufacturer or a leaf dealer, and you deliver to one of their receiving stations. You're under contract, you know how many pounds you're going to grow, you know what their grading scale is, you know what the prices are for the grading scale that they have. I'm actually growing almost 4 times more than I did at the end of the quota system.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture confirms more tobacco is being grown in Virginia now than 5 years ago. In 2007, just a few years after the tobacco buyout program ended the quota system, Virginia had 892 tobacco farms producing 43 million pounds of leaf worth $68 million. In 2012, there were only 557 tobacco farms in Virginia producing 53 million pounds of leaf worth more than $100 million. State agriculture experts report that tobacco acreage is down about 13% in 2015, but they don't expect that to be a trend.
Right where we are in Mecklenburg County, Virginia, the last year of the quota, they grew 2,800 acres. This year, it's about 4,000 acres of tobacco grown in Mecklenburg County. Tobacco in the state of Virginia is alive and well. I mean, it's flourishing. People do really good with it. You've got more options now with the quota gone. You can use a stronger rotation and be able to use more land opportunities in your area and that kind of thing.
Jennings says if you have a high-quality crop, you pretty much know what your income is going to be for that year. The problems come when the weather turns either too wet or too dry, which affects the quality. And you have to know a lot more about growing a quality crop to be successful.
Tobacco loves to be rotated with other crops. A really good rotation would be 1 year in tobacco and 2 years in maybe a small grain wheat or soybeans or something like that. Most of my crop is in like 1 in, 1 out. I have some in a 1 in, 2 out.
In the last century, Virginia flue-cured tobacco was grown in part of what was called the Old Belt, from Southside Virginia, northern North Carolina, and the southwestern part of Virginia. This was some of the most desired tobacco on world markets due to its high quality. Jennings says raising tobacco has always been hard work, but there's always been a sense you're part of growing something unique and special.
You still have the romance, you just don't have as much time for it. It's kind of like everything, you don't get any breaks anymore. It's, finish one job, go to the next. You don't finish anything, you just quit and go home that day and start back the next day where you stopped the day before. You got to make pounds per acre, and you got to have high quality tobacco. And you need to do both of them consistently every year, because that's what they want. If you bring high quality tobacco to whoever you've contracted with, you're going to keep growing tobacco.
There are also non-monetary rewards to raising a crop with such a rich legacy in Virginia.
And it is absolutely one of the most rewarding crops to grow just from a visual. When you plant it, And when you plant the seed in February, it's about the size of a grain of pepper. You can't even see it hardly. And then it turns into this right here. I mean, it's just absolutely beautiful crop to watch grow. My father grew tobacco on the farms, some of the farms that I'm growing tobacco on too. Talking about how things have changed. The land that I'm farming right now, in 1964, 27 farm families were farming that land.
Jennings feels that the new system makes selling his tobacco easier, but the standards are much higher than before. Like most farmers still growing tobacco, he's done it all his life and still enjoys it. In Mecklenburg County, Virginia, this is Norm Hyde reporting.
One historian has written that tobacco is the reason the southern part of the United States speaks English instead of Spanish. It literally was the crop that saved the dying English colony in Jamestown, Virginia. The first crop of tobacco was planted in 1614, and by 1619 it became the crop that dominated all trade from the New World. Tobacco was so important to commerce that landowners often settled their debts in tobacco instead of cash. Tobacco was sold at auctions for centuries, but during the Great Depression, a quota system was developed to help farmers. That system was bought out in 2004. Today, the majority of tobacco growers sell their crop directly to processors.
I'm Mark Viette. Coming up on In the Garden, we're going to talk about pruning our native hollies. Stay with us.
I love being a dairy farmer because it's an adventure to be a dairy farmer. It's a new beginning every day.
Every day I can get up in the morning and have a smile on my face, whether it's raining or whether the sun's shining. I love what I do.
Growing up on a dairy farm, I think you learn to work really hard and don't take anything for granted.
There's a lot of work to do on a dairy farm. You have to be committed.
It's a huge responsibility that we have being farmers. We take pride in it and we're proud to be able to do it.
Every day we have the opportunity to provide a wholesome product that's vitamin rich and nutrient full.
It's a feel-good feeling knowing that I'm putting food on somebody else's table and that I'm doing a good job doing it.
I'm Ken Smith.
I'm Ben Smith, and I'm dedicated to dairy, my cows, my milk, my land.
One of the secrets to healthy holly shrubs is successful pruning. Mark Viette shows us how in the garden.
Some of the plants that we plant in the garden might be small, but they get big. This is a variety of American holly, our native holly, and this variety is Merry Christmas. It's filled with beautiful berries. Now, I pruned this tree about 3 years ago, and I pruned it hard. Usually you can prune some of your hollies hard in late winter, maybe early spring, right before new growth begins. And I'll reach in, I'll take usually these pruners for this type of pruning. Again, this is the more rejuvenation pruning, the more drastic type of pruning. As you can see, this holly is beginning to block the windows. At one point, this holly will grow all the way out to here, and that just dwarfs the house and it's too big. So you reach in, and this is a great way to get your exercise. And I'm just going to cut like this, and I'm going to go all the way around the holly and do this. And it really does look drastic, but this is what the plant needs to be able to stay within its bounds and not be too big, because once they block the windows, you're losing the benefit of your holly. And if you look carefully in here, you can see where it was pruned 3 years ago all the way back to this point. So I am cutting it to about 20 inches from the main trunk, and I'll go up and down this whole tree here, and up here, for example, I'll do the same thing. And this plant will grow back and look just like it does now in about 3 years. And if I do find any like praying mantis eggs and things that, and I have to prune them, I stick them back in the holly so they can hatch out. Now, there is another type of pruning that you can perform on hollies in the middle of summer, and that's more of a minor type of pruning, and I'll show you that right now. This holly here was also pruned severely 3 years ago. What I'm going to do is do more of a minor pruning. You can do some minor pruning on hollies in July. It's a great month. So I would just come in here, and instead of cutting branches way back in late winter or early spring, I'm just going to come in here and prune some of these branches, sort of to, you know, allow the light to come into the window. At the same time, you want to be able to see out the window. And what I'm doing is pruning anywhere from 6 to 12 inches off of this tree. It's just come in here and tip these branches. Just like this. And you can see already that it's really opened up this whole area, which, and I really like to prune in midsummer on my hollies, but again, it's a minor form as compared to the severe form. But this really keeps your hollies within bounds. You know, the other choice is to replace the holly, which I really don't like to do. The minor pruning also allows for the birds to nest in this holly during the spring. So I wait till the birds have nested, had their young, because doves and blue jays will nest in this, and then I do the midsummer pruning like this to keep it in bounds. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
For more garden tips, go to inthegardenradio.com.
Summertime turns salads into the king of the kitchen. Carissa Jackson has a recipe for a bean and avocado salad coming right up from the heart of the home.
Visit the Virginia farm that produced an American legend. See the birthplace of 1973 Triple Crown champion Secretariat, now a Virginia historic landmark, at Meadow Event Park. Our Hoofprints of History tours are given year-round by reservation. It's a perfect day trip for families, groups large or small, and anyone who loves horses and history. Resident author-historian Leanne Meadows-Layden conducts the tours and shares behind-the-scenes stories about Meadow Stable and its most famous son, Secretariat. Meadow Event Park also hosts the annual Secretariat Birthday Celebration at the Virginia Horse Festival each spring. The festivities at the State Fair of Virginia at Meadow Event Park include an annual salute to Secretariat during both weekends. Come see where the legend lives on. Visit Secretariat's birthplace at Meadow Event Park. Avocados are technically a fruit, not a vegetable. Originally grown in Mexico and Central and South America, the first avocado trees were planted in Florida in 1833. California is now the largest avocado producing state, followed by Florida and Hawaii. Avocados are not grown commercially in Virginia, but are one of the most popular ingredients in many dishes, including other Virginia ingredients such as salad greens and Hispanic recipes. Among its many other uses are in salads, as a filling for sandwiches, and in quick desserts. In some countries, they're also used in milkshakes and ice cream. The U.S. actually imports avocados, a rarity in a country where farm products are our top export commodity.
Avocado salads are a great treat during the hot summer months, and if you team them with beans, you've got a great meal. Miss America 2010, Carissa Jackson shows us her heart-healthy recipe in the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Carissa Jackson with Heart of the Home, cooking at the Meadow Hall Kitchen at the Meadow Event Park. It's summertime, so we're always looking for some fresh salads, so together with our partners at Relay Food, we decided to try something a little new. We're going to make a white bean and avocado salad with a miso tahini dressing. So to start, we're going to need 1 tablespoon of olive oil in a saucepan over medium heat. That's about a tablespoon in my life. And we're going to add 1.5 cup of fresh white beans, drained. And we're going to stir them around in our oil, but we don't want to mash them. We just want them to get crisp. This will take about 2 or 3 minutes. We want to constantly stir because we also don't want them to stick to the bottom of our pan either. We're going to be using some ingredients that you can typically find at a specialty grocery store, one of which is broccoli rabe, which is actually not in the broccoli family. It's a specialty green that you can find at a farmer's market or you can find in the frozen food section sometimes. I went ahead and pre-prepared this because it takes about 20 to 25 minutes if you steam it on top of the stove, or you can also cook it in a microwave safe dish for 8 to 10 minutes. I've set it off to the side because the key to a lot of the things in this recipe is getting it settled down to room temperature. So even once these beans are finished, we're going to give it time to rest because we don't want to mix it too soon with our fresh field greens because that will cause them to wilt. All right, these are done, and we're going to go ahead and take these off of the heat and set them aside to become room temperature. And while we're waiting for them to cool off, we're going to go ahead and start making up our dressing. To start with our dressing, we are going to use 1/4 cup of tahini, 1/4 cup of vegetable broth, juice of a lime, 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, and 1 tablespoon of miso. All right, we want to whisk together all of these products until the miso in particular is broken down and there are no large chunks left. All right. Now we're going to take a couple of handfuls of mixed greens, whatever your favorites are. These are mixed field greens, and we're going to go ahead and mix that with our broccoli rabe and our white beans. Adding white beans is a great way to get protein in your salad. All right, once that is mixed together, we are also going to go ahead and add 1/4 cup of raw pumpkin seeds. And so to serve, I'm going to add it to a bowl. Any bowl of your choice. Add a few slices of avocado on top. And drizzle our miso tahini dressing on top. And there you have it, crispy white bean avocado salad with a miso tahini dressing. I'm Caressa for Heart of the Home. Come and get it.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafarmbureau.org.
The State Fair is bringing you the best of Virginia. My job is picking it up. Know any driving tunes?
They've been in the bathroom, right?
Hello, ladies.
Hello.
No fight songs. This could be a challenge.
Learn more at statefairva.org.
Like many old buildings, tobacco barns were often left to collapse due to old age. But as Dave Miller reports, preservationists are working to prop up a very important part of Virginia's rural heritage.
Everyone used to grow tobacco in Southside Virginia or knew someone who did. Today there are relatively few tobacco growers left in the region, but you can see symbols of the history and importance of the golden leaf by counting how many old tobacco barns are still standing. Preservation Virginia lists these structures as endangered sites worthy of protecting.
Tobacco was grown all over Virginia, and there are tobacco barns in every part of the state. But in this part of the state, where broadleaf tobacco really took root, it's typically called the Old Belt, and it also goes into North Carolina. You will see a lot of these flue-cured tobacco barns in the landscape, and they really have become an integral part of the landscape of Virginia, in this part of Virginia. I've heard people say that the tobacco barns in Southside are like the windmills of Holland.
The tobacco barns of A.J. Knuckles' family farm are good examples of these structures that are still standing. Built in the early 19th century, one is frame-built and joined with mortise and tenon joints. The other is a log structure with notched ends. Both were built from shortleaf pine trees, as were most of the local barns.
These barns were built for cut tobacco. They cut the whole stalk. It was only, I think, in the 1920s that they actually started harvesting it, pulling it by stalk position. These barns were built for cut tobacco, so the logs are, the tier poles are wide apart vertically to hang whole stalks of tobacco. My grandpa said they put 1,200 sticks of tobacco in this barn.
There were no tractor-trailer trucks in those days, so this extremely valuable commodity had to be carefully packed and shipped by hand.
They took the hogshead, which was a wooden barrel, a big wooden barrel, and they set it upright and prized or pressed. Grandpa described it as a lever operation, that they pressed the tobacco into these hogsheads. Then they rolled the barrel over on the side, put an axle through it, attached sheaves to the axle, put a horse, and rolled the barrel to market.
History lessons like this help make the heritage of tobacco production and farming come alive for future generations, and everything centered around the old barns back in the day. But time plays no favorites, and many of these barns are gone or crumbling fast. Billy Johnson's farm has log barns that were built in the mid-20th century. They are also wood-fired, flue-cured tobacco barns. Johnson's barns were some of the last built in the county. He remembers often staying up all night watching the wood fires that kept the heat flowing to cure the leaf.
And we cut the logs off the place. We had what you call an old-fashioned barn raising, where everybody in the community come and help put the logs up, notch the corners like you see it. And that was quite a day, because most time the people that had the barn raising, the family would furnish dinner, and there'd be 2 tables of them. That barn right there would hold 440 sticks of tobacco, hand-strung. It's part of history that we have in this area, and we need to keep it.
Preservation Virginia offers a mini grant program for owners interested in raising funds to stabilize and preserve old tobacco barns. The Tobacco Barn Preservation Project is the first of its kind in the state. The knowledge of how to repair these old structures is very specialized, so the project also offers advice and training on repairing them. You can learn more at their website, preservationvirginia.org, and by searching for tobacco barns. In Pittsylvania County, this is Dave Miller.
That's going to do it for this edition of Real Virginia. We're so glad you could join us to celebrate the bounty Virginia has to offer. Whether it's in your home, your garden, or your landscape, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. So for everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a good week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.